Okay, let's talk a bit about cryptocurrency. Venezuela has launched the world's first ever oil-backed cryptocurrency called the Petro. What are global traders thinking about this idea, and is Venezuela opening doors for other sovereigns to issue on cryptocurrency?
Well, it's quite likely that other countries will try the same. Other countries meaning countries that are like Venezuela, a country that nobody on the international financial markets has any trust in because the economy is grounded and the currency, the official currency of the country has devalued so much. No serious international investor wants to put money in Venezuela. Now, of course, that raises the question, what kind of investors might be interested in such a cryptocurrency? And if you talk to people here, that most people are convinced that investors trying to invest in a doubtful asset like the Petro have doubtful motives as well. And of course, everybody knows that worldwide there are rich people who try to avoid the international trustworthy ways of investing money, either because they made their money illegally or because they want to hide, they want to avoid taxes. Or maybe they live in countries that are struck by international sanctions, countries like Russia. That's the kind of world that you focus at when you think about what Petro does, which means that here in a traditional trading place like the Frankfurt Stock Exchange and the Frankfurt financial markets, nobody seriously considers this a serious asset, and despite the fact that the Venezuelan government says that a couple of $100 million were cashed on the first trading day of the Petro, nobody really here believes that this is a serious, trustworthy piece of asset to invest in.
Well, perhaps the die-hard cryptocurrency investors will sure give it a trial. You never can tell. Thank you very much for your time, Conrad. We'll move on now to the U.S. West Stock Index. Futures fell into the red ahead of Wednesday's open, extending losses seen in the previous trading session. Around 5 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures were down 47 points, indicating a drop of 51.75 points at the open. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 futures pointed to a flat to negative open for their respective markets. Investor sentiment continued to be dampened prior to the Wall Street open after U.S. markets closed sharply lower on Tuesday, with the Dow finishing more than 250 points in the red. Earnings will continue to shake up sentiment today as Delphi Technologies, Jameen, Wendy's, Boston Beer, Cheesecake Factory, Pandora Media and Roku are due to report their latest financial figures. In data, mortgage applications are due at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, followed by flash U.S. Composite Purchasing Managers Index at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time and existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. On the central banking front, the latest minutes released by the Federal Open Market Committee is due out at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, while Minneapolis Fed President Neel Kashkari and Philadelphia Fed Patrick Harker are scheduled to deliver separate speeches. And in Asia, stock indices closed higher today after a session of choppy trade in Japanese markets. More convincing gains were seen in Taiwan and Hong Kong markets. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index closed up 0.21% after a session of choppy trade. Manufacturing stocks finished the day mostly high, with Fanuc manufacturing advancing 0.4% by the end of the session. Automakers and technology names were mixed. Meanwhile, the Kospi edged up by 0.6%. Steelmakers traded lower after the South Korean government submitted a World Trade Organization complaint over U.S. duties, although they finished the day off their session lows. In Australia, the ASX 200 closed higher by 0.05% after hovering around the flat line for most of the session as investors focused on earnings releases. Gains in Hong Kong were more decisive, with the Hang Seng Index rising 1.66% as financials led gains on the index. Markets in China remained closed for the Lunar New Year holiday. And Away from the markets and back here in Africa, Congo Republic is set to become the latest African country to start debt relief talks with trading houses after borrowing $2 billion from merchants such as Trafigura and Glencore, but now finding its debt levels unsustainable. Trading houses regularly lend money to resource-rich clients in financial distress, be it countries such as Congo, Chad, Morocco, or Iraq's Kurdistan region, when other lenders walk away. But traders often charge heavy interest on loans and require access to resources. Congo has recently appointed investment bank Lazard as an advisor to help it renegotiate debts with the traders. The move is similar to Chad, which has appointed Rothschild as an advisor in talks with Glencore and 4 bank lenders. Like Chad, Congo Republic has come under pressure from the IMF to restructure its debt, which trade sources fear may result in painful and prolonged talks with the traders unwilling to unilaterally improve credit terms. And the International Monetary Fund says Kenya's $1.5 billion standby credit facility remains in place until the end of March 2018, but the country cannot assess it because conditions have not been met, clarifying comments given a day earlier. On Tuesday, Jean Melkerson, IMF representative in Kenya, said access to the 2-year precautionary facility was lost in June because a review had not been completed due to Kenya's extended election season. The 2-year precautionary facility, set to expire next month, was put in place in case of unforeseen external shocks that could put pressure on Kenya's balance of payments. The East African economy has not tapped the facility, which was preceded by a smaller standby 1-year credit line in 2015, as foreign exchange reserves held by the central bank have soared to record highs. And Rwanda plans to issue 50 new licenses to mine metals, including gold, tin and tantalum this year. That may help boost investment in the East African nation by a fifth. The state-run board expects to attract $2 billion of investment in 2018, compared with $1.67 billion last year. It's also seeking $200 million for a new innovation center in the city and is planning a project known as Kivu Belt to boost tourism. Rwanda is expanding its mining industry as it seeks to accelerate growth to 7% this year from about 6% in 2017. The country is the world's second biggest producer of tantalum, a mineral extracted from coltan and ore that's used to make components in smartphones, and Africa's third largest tin miner, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the new CBN banking regulations. To stay with us.